Hello everybody, I hope you are all safe and healthy wherever you are. As many of you, because of the COVID-19 outbreak, I have to obey a stay-at-home order, and living in a forest, I have to stay in my forest, which is actually very nice. This forest is 30 years old. Together with my wife Joanna, we decided to turn a low-class agricultural land into a forest 30 years ago. And now we have over 1,000 trees here in more than 20 different species. Most of them are over 15 meters tall, some of them 20 meters tall already. And they are bringing back from the atmosphere 3 times more of the carbon dioxide than my family generates. Also, this forest is a home to a big number of animals. Every year we discover new species. So this place became really full of life, which brings us a lot of joy. We are working on biodiversity here, so every year we plant new trees. This spring we planted about 150 new trees, most of them Douglas firs. Douglas firs are native to the west coast of North America. They are the second biggest trees on earth. They can grow up to 100 meters tall. They grow very fast. And they live very long. They can live even 800 years, so they are very good allies in fighting the global warming. In Poland, many of our native conifers are dying now because of the climate change. And Douglas firs, which were introduced into Polish forests in the 19th century, proved to be much more drought and heat resistant than some of our native conifers. So that's why we are introducing them into our forest too. Planting trees became very popular now. Many people want to help with the global warming crisis, and they join many different reforestation efforts. Also in the Kwan School of Zen, we are starting a new very ambitious project now, the original Buddha Temples project. So when I was planting 100 Douglas fir seedlings this spring, which I ordered online, I decided to use this opportunity to make some kind of a tutorial to show you how I'm doing it, to share some of my experience with you, but also to promote something which I believe is a Zen way of planting trees. I remember somebody saying that Zen means to care. Zen Master Seung San, when somebody asked him what is Zen, used to say, "What are you doing right now?" So if we are already paying attention to what are we doing, then the next question is, are we doing it with care? Because the direction of our practice is to help all sentient beings, and we can't help anybody if we don't care. So if you are planting a tree, then it's not only this small seedling which you may waste or not. What you are doing determines the future life of a living organism which may grow much bigger than you and live much longer than you. You are also deciding about time and space. Because if this tree survives your planting, then it will use significant amount of precious land in the forest, and it may use it for even a few hundred years. So if you neglect something during planting, if you plant it too shallow or too deep, or if you harm the roots, then this tree will not be able to use its potential fully. So the space and time will be to some extent wasted. And if you are using what you have learned from the Zen practice during planting, if you are paying attention to what are you doing, if you give the seedling what it needs, if you do it with care, then the chances are much better. Then this tree will grow healthy and will use, given soil, water, sun, space and time, the best it can to help everybody. So please watch this video. It was filmed over a month ago because the bare root seedlings have to be planted before the vegetation starts. So the forest look completely different. It's not green yet, but it's the same forest I'm in now. I'm not saying that my way of planting trees is the best ever. You may know better. So if you do, please write to me in the commentaries or write an email to me. I want to learn from you also. Enjoy the video. So this is the package which I just received. And let's see how they look like. For 2-year-old seedlings, they look quite impressive. This is 50. And this is another 50. And first thing we have to do is to put them into water. For this amount of seedlings, I prepared a big bucket. I put some soil in it and some peat. To make muddy water. Okay. They should stay here for at least 2 hours. They spend probably 24 hours or more during transport. So they are in very big stress now. They think maybe they are dying, but we are rescuing now. By the way, you can see that some of them are already starting to grow. Some of the buds are already starting to open. So this is the last moment for planting the seedlings. Okay, see you soon. The roots are moistured, so the fun part begins. We can start planting. As you can see, I have a stand here. I have it for 2 reasons. First of all, it will help me to explain some things to you, but also it will help me during planting, which you will see later. So we'll start with this fellow. As you can see, the root system is asymmetrical, so some mistakes have been made in the nursery. All the roots go to one direction. Also, it's a bit two-dimensional, as you can see. It's because, yeah, they were planting the small seedlings very fast, and well, it's not bad, but it could be better. So for a healthy tree, usually the root system is comparable to the green part above the ground level. Usually a bit smaller, but not very much smaller. So let's check it. It's 47 centimeters, the green part, and 42 the root part. So this is why I plant bare root seedlings, not seedlings bought in a container, which is easier. It's much easier to plant trees which you buy in containers like this, but you know, imagine all these roots packed like this. They grow like this in a container, they circle around, and this is what you put in the ground. So this root system from the beginning will not be healthy, and the tree will have some problems when it will become older. It's not bad for trees in your garden, for small trees, but for big trees it's much better if you have the roots growing naturally. And most people who teach how to plant trees, they tell you to trim the roots. This is the first thing you do, to trim the roots, to make them even. And well, first of all, you don't need to dig a big hole if you have the roots trimmed, and definitely you shouldn't plant, you know, trees like this. So this shouldn't be banned, because the roots can grow up, not down. And yeah, you can see, because when this seedling was 1 year old, probably it was planted too shallow, so all the roots were growing in the beginning like this. We'll try to fix it. If you can't dig a big hole, then it's better to trim the roots. And also when you trim them, then you know they develop smaller roots, denser in this area. So this is useful. This is good for when you plant, again, trees in your garden. But for trees, for forest trees, which are supposed to be tall, big, you know, the deeper the roots go, the better. So I prefer to keep them naturally as much as I can, to use some more time with planting, but to save the length of the roots. So one more thing I do before I plant a seedling is to untangle the roots. So they are a bit tangled. So to make sure that they are not bent. And now we can start digging. So in the beginning, first thing you want to do is to remove the plants. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Because I'm killing some plants now. But I want the seedling to have as less competition as it's possible. In the beginning. So as you can see, I have two big buckets here, and one is for this wonderful layer of soil which I'm digging out now. This layer is rich with organic material. And soon there will be next layer. Oh, it starts to show. Which is, well, more sand mixed with clay. So this is what I have this second bucket for. Because I don't want those two layers to be mixed. I would like to put it back in the same order. Let's measure the depth. Okay. Over 50. This is enough. So now you will see why I have this bar here. Usually people plant seedlings like this in pairs. Two people. But if you do it like I'm doing it, then it's better if you do it alone. And if you use something like this, it does not necessarily have to be, you know, some kind of professional stand. It can be just a rod. So you can hold the seedling with a clip to the rod on a proper level. Usually if you do it in pair, the other person is holding the seedling, and well, especially after a few hours of planting, it's really hard to keep it all the time in a proper position. And well, if you do it fast, then it works, but I'm doing it slower, so it would be too tough for the second person. And you know, very important thing is that the seedling should be planted at the proper level. So it should be this point, something like 1-2 centimeters from this point where the roots start growing. So this is the right place. It may be, you know, a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but definitely not like this, and definitely not like this. So, well, this is the right position. So, and usually when forest workers plant seedling like this, they use, well, two methods. One is they dig a hole but smaller with the roots trimmed, and then they put soil from all sides to it quickly. And what happens? You know, the pressure of the soil, well, maybe I will show it to you with another seedling. If you put the soil from all sides, well, you can see again, this is two-dimensional root system. When you the pressure, you know, makes something like this. So this seedling will be planted like this. So this is not very good. You may have some space with more soil inside here, and also, you know, these roots are dense in a column way. They have no space. So to avoid this, some forest workers have another way to do it. They put the seedling next to one side of the hole, and they put soil inside like this. Then this becomes not like this, but it's more, the roots are more separate, but they are two-dimensional. So I will show you how to keep the root system three-dimensional, so all the roots have from the beginning they have space around, and then they can take advantage of all the organic material and water and everything which is in the soil. I'm starting to do it with my hand from inside the root system. I'm doing it with my bare hands, but if you want to plant more trees like that, I really recommend using gloves. So if some forest workers could see me now doing this, they would laugh, because they have to plant like 1,000 or 2,000 seedlings per day. So this is absolutely not what would they do. But this way, I think this tree will be happy. Because the roots will be separate in 3 dimensions, and they will have a lot of space around to develop the new ones, the smaller ones, so they can take full advantage of the soil and of the moisture and all the organic components here. So I'm giving also some peat, because all conifers love acidic soil, and also because peat enhances the structure of the soil and helps with keeping moisture. So now I'm giving soil from the second bucket. So this way the original structure of the soil levels is kept. And well, try to imagine that somebody is now holding this seedling all this time, keeping it steady. Well, this person would probably not like it. So the closer you are to the ground level, you can start doing it faster. Because the roots are separate already. At this point I'm starting to use my spade. And before I put the rest of it, I will water it. Because this seedling experienced really big stress during replanting, and also lost for sure some of the smaller roots, so it really needs a lot of water. Usually for seedling like this I'm pouring something between 10 or 20 liters of water. So we are waiting now a moment for the water to sink in, and we are almost done. It takes a moment, longer than the usual way of planting trees like this, but I think it's worth to use this time. Because this tree will have much better chances for growing well, being healthy, and becoming a giant tree, and bringing back a lot of carbon dioxide from the air. Now I can remove my clip and remove the stand. It's good to make sure that the seedling is straight. And now I will form a little bowl here. Because planting a seedling is not the end of the job. This is my baby now. I have to take care of it, and I'm going to water it, especially during the first year of its life here in this forest. So again, I'm giving some now. So with a bowl like this, the water is kept inside and you are not losing it. One Douglas fir seedling has been planted, 99 more to go. It wasn't that hard. But, yeah, the more natural way would be to start planting not from a seedling which you buy from some nursery, which is a good way, but I think the better way is to start it yourself from a cone, which is a little bit more difficult, but also a little bit more fun. And I will show you how to do it next time probably. So thank you for watching this, and well, you can use my way of doing this, or you can experiment with your own way of doing this. But whatever you do, try to do it with care, try to do it with awareness, with mindfulness, and because this is a living organism, and I think it's worth to use some time and use some energy to do it the best way you can.